You are listening to Houston Weekend Magazine. My name is Mystic Matthews, and joining me on the show today is J.D. Joyce. He has written a book called The Story of Rich with Matt Joyce and forward by Brian Westbury. He is here today to talk about the book, and regardless of one's wealth, age, or experience, making the right investment decisions and executing an effective financial plan can be difficult in today's markets, but of course, with the right guidance, you can avoid potential pitfalls and fulfill your financial dreams. And that's what JD is here to talk to us today about. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mystic. I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great. So give us a little bit of background. Tell us about yourself, and then we'll talk about the book that you've written.
Sure, I'd love to. Well, in my day job, I have been in the investment business for almost 20 years now. Over the years, I've learned that sometimes people focus on things that may not be quite as important, and they overlook some of the most significant parts of investments and financial planning. So I've had the privilege of helping people navigate through uncertain times. Both sometimes it's uncertain times in their life, other times it's uncertainties in the economy or the markets. And I wanted to write a book that would help people kind of find a direction in the future.
Definitely, when you think of the stock market and you think of planning for the future and retirement and all, I mean, it's overwhelming. It's not something you want to have to think about because to me, it's just too much almost.
Right. Well, it can be, and it can be for a number of different people. And so one of my goals with this book is to make it an easy read. And so invariably people come up and say, oh, I really like the book. It's an easy read. I think they mean that as a compliment. Mm-hmm. And they also tell me they identify with the characters, because I think one of the most interesting parts when you talk about the complexity of this book is told in the form of a story or a novel. So the novel aspect, there is a storyline, and I'd love to share the storyline with you if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's called The Story of Rich, and of course, so when you hear the title, of course, you think of it more of a novel than a financial planning book. So
exactly,
which is great because, like you said, it would make it more entertaining to read than invest here, don't invest here. Right. Think of it, that sort of thing.
That may be a bit dry.
Right. I mean, well, and it's always generally good information and stuff that people want to know and need to know about, but if you can make it more entertaining along the way, then even better.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So how did you come up with the idea? What part of you said, I need to write a book and this is how I'm going to do it?
Sure. Well, for one thing, I'm a big planner and goal setter myself. And so for a number of years, I wanted to write a book. And I got tired of each year looking at my goals. I look at them periodically, but at the end of each year, I really assess which ones I accomplished and which ones I didn't. Mm-hmm. And I got tired of not being able to mark that one off the to-do list. And so that was part of it. But secondly, I really do want to help people because I think if they will read the book and adhere to the principles in here, I think they'll be more comfortable with investing. And hopefully it may even bring more happiness to them because they're going to have greater success. And I say they'll have greater success, meaning that I can't guarantee them that they're going to make more money, but I do believe if they'll follow these steps, they may not be as worried, and it may give them kind of a direction on what they may want to do with their own situation. So in the book, the storyline it kind of goes like this. Rich Viva lives here in Houston. He's 58 years old, and you're going to see that there are a number of different Houston locations and restaurants and what have you mentioned. So for Houstonians, it'll be a lot of fun to read the book. And so Rich sells his company. For someone else, it may not be selling a company. It may just be working hard or winning the lottery or inheriting some money. But now that he has some free time after selling his company, he wants to get involved with investing. And so his wife has handled most of the investing in the past, and she's handled, raising the kids and taking care of everything else around the home. And now all of a sudden he realizes, his kids are grown. He has some time where he wants to now learn more about investing, and that's his journey. And so thinking it would possibly be boring if the storyline was that he came in to meet with somebody such as me in my capacity and help him develop a plan. Instead, he learns these lessons through his everyday walk. And so his everyday encounters with strangers and friends teach him a different, important, valuable lesson on investing.
Okay, wonderful. And so it just takes you through like a year of his life or longer? Yeah,
great question. It would be longer. We don't specifically say how long it is, but it opens where he had just sold his company. So that's where it starts. And then the journey goes beyond that. Okay,
so just as you're going through with this character and interacting, it's just you're learning things along the way.
Exactly. Okay. And so what we do is we tell a number of different stories. And so the subtitle to the book is A Financial Fable of Wealth and Reason during uncertain times. And so by fable, what we're referring to there is there's different chapters that may appeal to various investors, but each of those chapters teaches an investment concept that I believe is important to their future success. So as an example, there's a concept of asset allocation. And all that means is we're blending together various assets to come up with the optimal blend of a portfolio. Mm-hmm. So the way that we teach that concept is through wine. And I think we have a lot of, wine connoisseurs or wine drinkers here in Houston. And so in the wine chapter, we have two chapters on wine, but on this particular one, they have kind of a pent-up demand to go travel. So Rich and Peg, our protagonist and his wife, they go to Sonoma and they meet a winemaker. And the winemaker, it just so happens he's the winemaker of their favorite Meritage, which is a blend of wine. And so as he's explaining how he blends together various varietals such as Cabernet Sauvignon, Cab Franc, Merlot, and what have you, they realize that's the exact same thing one does with a portfolio. You blend together different types of assets. Maybe it's domestic large companies, or maybe it's a small cap international, or a bond strategy. But just like you're trying to come with the ultimate blend for your wine, one is trying to come with the ultimate blend for their portfolio.
Exactly. And because we always hear the word diversify when it comes to our portfolio. So it would make sense to kind of use that and teach about that.
Exactly. And so the story I'm sharing with you now, I don't think it'll detract from the overall storyline, but there's a number of stories like that hopefully will draw people in because they want to learn more about what Rich is doing next, or what Peg is doing, or what his friend Ernie's doing, or their children. So it's been very exciting for me.
Good. Now, when did you actually start writing the book, and how long did it take?
Sure. Well, it took just shy of 2 years from inception to fruition. And I'm thrilled that Wiley Publishing published the book. And so I'm also very fortunate that my second cousin, Matt, who helped me with the book and who's the co-author, quite frankly, Matt's a newspaper reporter. And so to be able to work with someone who knows about deadlines and knows how to write actually was very helpful to this project.
It's a whole different world when it comes to PR writing and news writing and even, book writing, creative writing. So it's, I'm sure kind of coming from the financial world, trying to tackle that can be kind of an interesting task.
Oh, yeah. And now Matt is the associate editor at Texas Highways. And so Matt's a wonderful writer. And at the same time, I didn't want it to be a ghostwritten book. I wanted it to be my words, but I just needed someone like Matt to make it all come together and to help me with the project.
Exactly. Now, of course, when we think of books, we always wonder where we can get them. When was it actually published, and how long has it actually been out?
Sure. It came out on October 2nd, so it's relatively new. All the Barnes & Nobles have them here. Several local bookstores do as well, such as River Oaks Bookstore, and then Amazon. And in fact, Mystic, I'm very excited that Amazon right now, the book is ranked out of all investment books, which are thousands, based on customer reviews. We're ranked number 7 on their online version and number 8 on the hard copy version. So we're really excited about the response we're getting from the readers.
That's great. And when you hear of investment books, you don't generally hear of a story with a storyline and characters, and it's generally, a how-to sort of.
Exactly. And the reason why I went with the story strategy is that so many of my clients, they tell me I'll invite them to hear maybe a specific portfolio manager speak, or we'll get into some sort of investment concept. And many times they'll say, well, JD, that's why I have you. I don't want to do that. That's why I'm paying you. And so I knew that for a lot of people aren't really wanting to necessarily read a textbook type book, although there are plenty of good ones out there. But my approach was to take this story or this novel approach.
Exactly. And so you said it took you about 2 years. And
yes.
I always wonder about the actual, from inception to actually getting it done, because people think, well, it's just a book, words on a page, you just get it done. I can see where, the timing and how long it would take and all that comes in. So. Oh,
yeah, definitely. A lot of emailing. Matt lives in Dallas at the time, and now he's in Austin, but we had a lot of emailing back and forth, as we're doing our word crafting. And I will tell you, the editorial staff at Wiley has just been awesome, and they're superb. I think they're all geniuses. So they've done a great job at helping us as well.
Right. And not to mention you have a day job.
Exactly.
so
this is my night job.
Exactly. And do you want to talk a little bit about, what you do as far as your background?
Sure. I'm in the investment business. Mm-hmm. I'm a wealth advisor, and I assist people basically with developing a plan on how they may want to invest their money. And so what you're going to find is several of the concepts in the book, people that I've worked with for years say, oh my goodness, this sounds just like you, because we've talked about all these things. Mm-hmm. And so it begins first with meeting someone and starting with what are their goals and objectives? What is it you want to accomplish with your money? Because if we know that, then that's going to put us in the right direction. Just as we do in everyday practice, that's exactly what happens with Rich and Peg as they try to figure out what they want to do with the rest of their life and with their money.
One more question about the actual book itself. Where did you come up with the actual names for the characters?
Great question. Rich Viva is the rich life. So maybe a little hokey or corny. Peg, I don't know, for some reason we just thought that sounded good. We have some others that have maybe a meaning and some really don't. So Ernie Troutman, for instance, is a good buddy of Rich's who's a big fisherman. and then there's just some random names that really don't have a meaning. There is one particular name in the book that is special to me, and I don't know that it will mean anything to anyone else, but two of my favorite teachers when I was a kid growing up, one was my first grade teacher, and one was my 10th grade English teacher. And so there's a chapter that involves Rich and Peg going back to a high school reunion, and they're learning about risk tolerance and how much risk they want to take with their portfolio. And so one of the teachers, a teacher who had kind of done it right, I joined the last names of two of my favorite teachers and their two first names as well to create this character in the book named in honor of those two teachers.
Okay, wonderful. It's always fun to know, and when you don't always get to speak to an author whenever you're talking about a book. So It's great to find out and ask how those names and characters came about. So
kind of the inside scoop.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when we're talking about a financial book, because it's, like we said, generally not with a storyline in a novel. So very, very cool. So The Story of Rich, a financial fable of wealth and reason during uncertain times. And it comes at a great time because, right now, our economy, I feel like, is definitely getting better. And in Texas, and especially in Houston, I think we've fared well compared to the rest of the country. But it's still been hard the last few years. And I know that people definitely have questions and need help and need guidance and wisdom. And not everyone can come see a financial advisor. With us as a society these days, I think we're all kind of do-it-ourselfers now. I mean, we all want to be able to handle things on our own. So it's always great to have guidance and some sort of information out there to help us with that. So,
and there is so much uncertainty today, and it may be uncertainty in the economy. It may be uncertainty in the markets, whether it's fixed income or bond markets or equity markets or the stock market. But there's also uncertainties in individuals' lives. It could be a divorce, a graduation, a birth, a death, retirement. And so all of those things cause one to really take a deep look at what they're doing and how they're doing it. And that's what this book does. It helps those people analyze what they're doing, and hopefully it'll give them a guide path on what to do in the future.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Now tell us how people can find out more information about you, about the book, and where, of course, they can locate it to buy.
Sure. No, thank you for that, Mystic. Well, first of all, we have a website, and the website is thestoryofrich.com. And so if you don't remember it, if you just Google Story of Rich, it should come up there for you. We also have a Facebook page, and we'd absolutely love to have some of your listeners join us on Facebook. And on Facebook, we'll put various photos and different book signings that we're doing around town and that kind of thing as well. And then obviously, any Barnes & Noble bookstore or independent bookstore, as well as Amazon, is carrying the book. So we're really excited to have their support. Okay, great. And you mentioned doing some book signings. Are you mostly just doing those around the Houston area? Are you able to travel for other places as well? We've done some. We've done a couple in Florida. Most of them have been in the greater Houston area. We have done Bryan College Station, and we have some set up around, in Houston as well as the surrounding communities. Okay, so wonderful. So we can check out the website to see where those will be on the calendar. Definitely. I'd love for your listeners to come out, and I'd love to meet them, and I'd love to inscribe a book for them. Wonderful. So it's thestoryofrich.com. You got it. Great. And of course, that is the title of the book, The Story of Rich by J.D. Joyce, with Matt Joyce and forward by Brian Westbury. I'm thrilled to be here, and I appreciate your interest. Thank you so much, J.D., for joining us. We appreciate having you on. Thank you, Mystic. Thank you, J.D. Joyce, and you are listening to Houston Weekend Magazine. I'm Mystic Matthews.